One more hit of common knowledge for the week. Let's get into it and see what our first common Magic the Gathering card is. It's Funeral Rites. For 2 and a black, you get a sorcery that says you draw 2 cards, you lose 2 life, and then you mill 2 cards. Is 3 mana worth that? This is already a Knight's Whisper. So that's drawing you the 2 cards and losing you the 2 life already. But now you're paying a 3rd mana to just mill 2 cards. I suppose there are decks that don't mind that. Like a Dimir Terror, maybe, because you're drawing the cards and now milling a couple cards, and this is going to your graveyard too. So maybe you're getting a number of instants and sorceries that lets you cast your serpents. No. No, the answer is no. It's 3 mana for this effect. If you wanted to play this, I think you just play the Knight's Whisper instead. And people don't really play Knight's Whisper in Pauper. That's a commander card, if anything. Yeah, I don't think this is very good. I'm going to give this a... I guess since it's so 2-centric, I'm just going to give it a 2. Next up, Nivix Cyclops. 1 and is it? So 1 a blue and a red for a 1/4 Cyclops creature with Defender. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, this creature gets +3/+0 until end of turn and can attack as though it didn't have Defender. You knew that was going to happen, right? Anytime you see a Defender, but it has a little extra text on it, you almost know, especially if it's a blue card. It has blue anywhere. They are so rotten with that kind of effect of like, well, it can lose Defender for a turn if you jump through a hoop. A 3 mana 4/4 is okay, but having to jump through that hoop every time to be able to do it is not particularly good. I also would really want this thing to have vigilance, so it could continue to be something that defends on the opponent's turn, even if you get to swing in with it. Yeah, I love the art. It's very BioShock, but I don't particularly like anything else about the card. I'm going to give this thing a 1.6. Resounding Wave is 2 and a blue for an instant, return target permanent to its owner's hand, and it also cycles for 5 and Esper, so 5 white, blue, and black to discard this card and draw a card. It's got to do something more when it cycles, right? When you cycle this card, return 2 target permanents to their owner's hand. It's not very good. It's not very good. I feel like we've done this one before. I'll just do it again. We've already talked about it. 3 mana for this effect is bad. 8 mana for this effect twice is horrendous. That's really bad. It is a permanent, so it is a boomerang effect. You can bounce lands to your opponent that way. If you bounce 2 lands on them, that can be pretty devastating, I guess, as a tempo thing. But you're spending 8 mana on it, bud. So I think you're the one who's losing tempo in that instance. Yeah, I can't get behind this. This is not particularly good. I'm going to give this thing a 1.8. That even feels a little high, honestly. This is pretty bad. Brass Knuckles, 4 mana for an artifact equipment. When you cast this spell, you copy it. Copy becomes a token. An equipped creature has double strike as long as 2 or more equipment are attached to it and equips for 1. All right, so the idea here is you play this for 4. You get a token copy of it for free, and then they both have equip 1. So you have to pay 6 mana altogether to give your creature double strike. Let me look up a little card called Fire Shrieker. Fire Shrieker costs 3. Now, to be fair, Fire Shrieker is not available in Pauper. But Fire Shrieker costs 3 to put down and 2 to equip. So that's 5 mana. It was also, we do have to mention, this was originally from Mirrodin. Mirrodin's the first crack that Wizards ever took at equipments, and there are a lot of busted equipments in Mirrodin because we just didn't know how good our equipment could be. So some of them were a little overtuned in Mirrodin. So 5 mana for double strike versus 6 mana with double strike. Okay, all right, something to consider. I think the real problem here is that you have to have the 2 equipments. I guess it's not. They both don't have to be the brass knuckles. You could put brass knuckles on 2 different creatures and then other equipments on those creatures, and now they both have double strike. Okay, it's possible, but now that's asking a lot. That's asking you to have 4 equipments on the board, 2 of which this gives you, but you need to have an additional 2 equipments. You need to have a second creature to attach those things to. Like, there's upside, but I don't know if there's enough upside for me to go, oh, okay. I don't know. I don't think double strike on its own is quite enough. Double strike's a really good ability, don't get me wrong, but I don't think paying 6 mana for double strike alone is all that great, especially when your opponent has ways of killing the creature, and then you feel like you wasted a bunch of mana putting that stuff down. Or even worse, they destroy one of the brass knuckles. And so now you have one set of brass knuckles that does nothing. This does nothing if you have it alone on the table. You need to have another equipment for this to work at all. So if they destroy one, you're really screwed. I don't like that. I'm going to give this thing a 1.5. I'm not a fan of brass knuckles at all. Stonework Pack Beast is 2 mana for a 2/1 artifact creature beast. Stonework Pack Beast is also a cleric, a rogue, a warrior, and a wizard. And you can pay 2 mana to add 1 mana of any color. So it has like an energy refractor thing attached to it. This is from Zendikar Rising, but it's like it works with the party mechanic. That's kind of what it's there for. It's nice that it has all these different creature types to it. You know, it's not quite a changeling that just does this a little cleaner, but it does have 5 creature types to it. You know, beast, cleric, rogue, warrior, wizard is kind of nice. Isn't there a card from Lorwyn that cares about the number of creature types a creature has, but it can only be like up to 10 or something? So human can't be 1 or something like that. So they're really just trying to go like, well, it doesn't work on changelings, but whatever has the most creature types outside of something with changeling is what you want. And I guess in that way, Stonework Pack Beast has something that it works with. That's fun. That is fun. The card itself, I don't think is particularly good. It does, counting as a wizard is probably the best one of these things to be in Pauper, at least. I think you can get a few more extra goodies by having a wizard around. Warrior, I don't know. They're all okay. They're all okay creature types. You get something out of the deal for all of them from a tribal typal kind of aspect. But yeah, not a very good card. 2 mana for a 2/1. Kind of bad, even if it does mana fix, but its mana fix is inefficient. You'd rather play just the energy refractor in Tron decks that are looking to convert their big colorless mana into colored mana. And that's really the only deck that would really want this thing unless it cares about the creature types. And for now, at least, I don't know that there's a Pauper deck that really cares about these creature types specifically. I don't think Party is something that shows up in Pauper. I will give this thing a 2. Mage Ring Bully, 1 and a red for a 2/2 human warrior with prowess, and this creature attacks each combat if able. Okay. You got to respect any creature that has prowess and is cheap to play. Because Monastery Swiftspear, we've talked about before, is one of the cards that is banned in Pauper. It's too good. Now, it's a 1 mana 1/2 with haste and prowess, so you put this on the board on the first turn, you can swing in with it, and now you can start casting non-creature spells and pumping this thing up every other turn, and it does get a little ridiculous. This guy does not have haste, so he can't swing in immediately. And he then has to swing every turn that he can. So you have to be able to play, or at least threaten to play, spells that your opponent doesn't want to have to block this guy. I think this is a relatively balanced one from Swiftsphere being obviously way too good, and plenty of other creatures that are like 4 or 5 mana and have prowess. And like at that point, I've played all my cards. Like I don't, prowess doesn't do me anything at that point. So I think this is a pretty good balanced one. Unfortunately, I think it's balanced enough that it's not really all that good. It's too balanced. It's too fair, and for that, I'll give this thing a 2.5, and kind of move on. Golgari Longlegs 3 and Golgari Hybrid, so a black or green and a black or green for a 5/4 insect. I like the name. I love the art. The card's not very good though. Five mana for a 5/4, a vanilla 5/4. If you're talking about paying this on the green side, we've got Avenging Hunter right there that is just way better. If you're playing this on the black side, I guess there's not as easy of equivalent here, but you have the Gurmag Angler, which I think is just going to be a better card that is often a cheaper card for you as well. You'll play that before you play Golgari Longlegs, but it does have very long legs. That's kind of fun. Did I give that a score? I don't think so. Let's give it a 2.1, I guess. Wildfire Emissary 3 and a red for a 2/4 Efreet with protection from white. And you can pay 1 and a red, and this creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Bad fire breathing, we call that. Most Efreets that I've seen have a downside to them. They're like Djinns in that way. So seeing an Efreet that doesn't have a downside is kind of cool. 4 mana for a 2/4, not great. Protection from white's kind of cool. Not enough to really matter, in my opinion. And then I like fire breathing. I think fire breathing, great effect. Paying double the mana for fire breathing, I'm much less interested in. But it also has a time spiral time shifted version, and you gotta love that. But I don't particularly like this card. I will give this thing a 2.4. I think. Yeah, I'll bump it up a little for the protection from white. Let's go for a 2.6. But most of that is really the protection from white as a sideboard piece that you would bring in. Alley Strangler 2 and a black for a 2/3 Aetherborn Rogue with Menace. That's just a normal ass magic card right there, and it's not great. I think once you paid 3 mana to put this on the board, your opponent probably has 2 creatures, or at least has had the ability to put 2 creatures down. So the Menace kind of gets a little negated at that point. If this was 2 mana, I think we could potentially have a conversation. It still wouldn't be very good, but it does swing in a little bit more consistently at 2 mana. 3 mana, I think you're just begging to be stopped in your tracks. I'm going to give this thing a 1.9. Rupture Spire is a land. We haven't done a land for a while. It enters tapped, and when this land enters, you sacrifice it unless you pay 1. And you can then tap it to add 1 mana of any color. Okay. I think these are better than some people think. Now, I get that I don't love having to pay for my lands to come into play. But once you've done that, now this thing taps for any color. It just completely fixes you. We have some other cards that do similar kind of effects or have a little extra bonus on top of this that are also in Pauper. Is the Clue land Pauper playable? Is it Crime Scene? I can't remember. We can look it up this way. If I just go Clue and land, I think it's the only Clue land available. Yeah, Scene of the Crime. That's the one I'm talking about. Not Pauper playable. Sorry, but same. No, this is different. What's the one I'm thinking of? I don't know. Maybe like a Strixhaven one that does something like this. Anyway, don't worry about my ramblings. I don't hate this. I really don't. But I understand that it's just negative tempo for you. And yeah, it is color fixing. The negative tempo is probably enough to kill it dead for most people. I still think the color fixing is interesting enough that if you're in a pretty slow style deck that needs to play a lot of colors, but also is slow, maybe you play this. Most of the time, though, I think you'd probably just play gates instead. If you're already willing to have a bunch of lands come into play tapped and fix, then you could play the gates that where you can choose the second color that they do. They come into play tapped, and then you get the gates package along with it. Those are generally just a little bit better. Again, I don't hate Rupture Spire. I understand that people might, though. I'm going to give this thing a... I'm going to give it a 3.5, which sounds very high, but you also have to remember this is a land. It can't be that bad. It's a land that taps for any color. Like you kind of have to take the good with the bad, or take the bad with the good in this instance. Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's our final one. So let's do a bonus card and call it a day, shall we? Call it a week, actually. We will end with Deadeye Tormentor, 2 and a black for a 2/2 human pirate with raid. When this creature enters, if you attack this turn, target opponent discards a card. I don't like it. I don't. Costs a lot. 3 mana for a 2/2 that makes them discard a card, but you had to attack that turn. I think it forces you to jump through a couple too many hoops. The creature isn't all that great once it's on the board. This is not... You could blink or bounce it. And as long as you attacked again, you can play this again and get its effect again. But now you're jumping through the hoops multiple times. I don't like that. I will give it a 2. Just a 2. No, it's better than a 2. Is it? I don't know. 2.1. Fine. That feels different enough, I guess. That's a week. We will see you next time on Common Knowledge. Bye.